Hello everyone, your monotone Destiny 2 YouTuber is here again, this time to talk about the new Trials of Osiris weapon. For the first time since Trials of the 9, we get an SMG called Shayura's Wrath. I hope I'm saying that correctly. On a serious note, this is a pretty hyped up SMG, and for good reason. It has an incredible stat package, and it belongs to the same archetype as the fan favorite Antiope SMG, and yes, I am saying that correctly. This SMG essentially takes the Antiope archetype, gets better stats in every way, shape, or form, gets an adept version later down the line to use with adept stat boost mods, and still inherently has the same zoom value while offering barrel options and not relying on sights to get that zoom value, which is 1.7 times, which is generally favored to have better performance at range, although for whatever reason I think I like 1.6 times better, but I think I'm a weird case. 1.7 is generally the value people like. So this SMG in nearly every way is very ideal as to what players in Destiny 2 have typically enjoyed on SMGs in the past. On my personal god roll, I'd go either for small bore or hammer forge just for a flat range boost with no cost. This weapon is precision frame, so it already gets an inherent boost to its recoil direction, so it'll actually go to 100 already, so you don't need that. Some interesting picks though might be corkscrew or fluted as well. They might not be bad to boost the low handling of this weapon. Accurized rounds in the next slot. In the first trade slot, DSR or dynamic sway reduction is my pick for the best perk in this slot, although I think it's impossible to actually get a bad perk in this slot. You have things like Killing Wind, Tunnel Vision, which is essentially kill clip for aim assist, if that makes sense, and Heating Up is like Rampage for increasing your accuracy as well as stability and improving your recoil direction. It also gets Quick Draw in this slot as well. So again, all very fine perks to choose from, although I think Dynamic Sway Reduction is the best because it's a neutral buff that does not require a kill, unlike most of these other than Quick Draw, but also grants you increased accuracy just for firing the weapon and stability just for firing the weapon, and the bonuses to accuracy and stability are both very important to your weapon's performance and consistency. In the second trait perk slot, Kill Clip is my pick for the best perk, although you have Celerity, Adrenaline Junkie, Tap the Trigger, and Snapshot Sights, all very good perks as well, although I think on an SMG most people would agree that you want Kill Clip because SMGs really shred with damage boosts, especially significant ones like Kill Clip. So on my ideal roll, you'd get something around 95 range, 50 stability, 32 reload, 60 aim assist, 1.7 times zoom, 100 recoil direction, a 27 bullet mag, and this is factoring in a fully masterworked adept version, not counting the +3 on all the other stats, and an adept Icarus mod. So these are some pretty insane stats with some pretty insane range. And according to D2 Gunsmith, you start getting damage drop off at around 28 meters with this incredibly ideal roll. All of this sounds incredible, and I would have to agree, objectively it is very good for this archetype. This is no doubt the best SMG for this archetype. But I'm here to ask, is this still the best archetype? SMGs have gone through a lot of changes, and one of the main things that makes this archetype attractive was that its rate of fire was slow enough and as a result more controllable or manageable, especially on controller. And the Antiope's legacy from when it was a great weapon dated back to year 1 in the fact that it had kill clip, of course high range, but more than any of that, it had a high range with the damage perk while being able to have good recoil to control, manageable recoil. Fast forward to now, they've changed SMGs in a way that you don't get nearly as much screen shake on controller, and well, I'd say that a lot more SMG archetypes like the 900s and even the 720s with really low stability are night and day more manageable. And we can see this become relevant as we've seen things like the Multi-Mach CCX from Iron Banner become incredibly popular as one of the best SMGs in the game. So this archetype, because other SMGs are a lot more manageable now, has a lot more competition. The Precision SMG archetype of Shayura's Wrath has an optimal time to kill of 0.8 seconds. The worst optimal time to kill of all the SMGs, and with a body time to kill of 1.10 seconds, that's also very slow, just barely not the slowest. So you have a very bad time to kill in both cases, even though you have a lot more controllable recoil and better range performance. Now compare this to the lightweight archetype of the multi-mach. It has a 0.67 optimal time to kill and a 1.13 second body shot time to kill, so nearly the same body time to kill, but a lot more potential. If you were to hit roughly 50% precision ratio with both of these archetypes, the lightweights would still have a 0.10 second faster time to kill than the precisions, not to mention a more forgiving rate of fire for missing shots. So if you miss a shot with a 900 RPM, you don't have to wait as long to get to the next shot already versus a 600. Of course, these are full auto weapons, but this still matters. It still affects your time to kill overall. And this isn't even comparing these two archetypes to the most forgiving archetype on the SMGs, which is the aggressives. They fire at 720 RPM, so still a more forgiving rate of fire than the 600, and have an optimal time to kill of 0.67, but a more forgiving body time to kill than both of these of 1 second. Lightweight SMGs give you a great time to kill and high potential. They're more punishing for missing the headshots, but they give you the lightweight bonus, so better sprint speed by 6.5%, as well as a +2 mobility, which is especially useful for hunters and their dodge cooldown. The aggressive SMGs gives you the best potential and aren't as punishing as the other two in terms of time to kill, so it gives you the best time to kill overall. The precision archetype gives you an incredible amount of range, again about 28 meters, that's no joke, but it sacrifices nearly everything for it. It sacrifices its time to kill in many ways, so it doesn't even feel like it's really shredding in my opinion as the other SMG archetypes do. It doesn't have very good handling, so the low handling makes it feel a bit more sluggish as well. I guess with its high range, it's easier to shoot, especially on controller having more reticle friction, and its rate of fire is slower, so it's more manageable and not as jumpy as the other archetypes per se. I think this SMG archetype is ultimately giving you more ease of use, but is sacrificing time to kill and a lot of other important factors for it. It's really hard for me to give up that potential 0.67 optimal time to kill on the other SMGs now that I've experienced it, and the recoil's a lot more manageable thanks to the changes. Even with kill clip on the Trials SMG, it's only a 0.6 optimal time to kill, whereas on the other archetypes, like on the lightweight, it becomes a 0.47. I guess the question to be asking is, what is this range getting you? You're trading off a lightweight bonus, you're trading off time to kill in every way, you're trading off a lot of stats other than range, of course. What is this massive range getting us? Especially when things like multi-mach and extraordinary rendition also have high zoom values and good range potential. It's essentially like a 6 meter difference in range. So what is that 6 meters doing for us? I mean, firstly on controller, I did notice, I have to admit, I noticed that the increased reticle friction was making it easier to challenge lanes. Of course, it was more prevalent at longer ranges, which made it easier to shoot. But ultimately, it doesn't bother me having slightly weaker reticle friction at range with other SMGs either. I feel like SMG's sweet spot is like 22 maybe to 25 meters, and if you're outside of that, you're really probably going to struggle, at least on controller. So okay, what is this additional 5 to 6 meters on this weapon getting us? And I'm not sure, because when I stop to think about it, at that range, even if you are able to shoot, I find that you're gonna go against hand cannons, and a good hand cannon user is either going to flinch the heck out of you, so you're missing shots and your time to kill is gonna get really punished with this archetype, or they're gonna play cover against you and you won't be able to deal ample damage, and well, yes, your time to kill is going to suffer a lot. So even though this SMG is loaded and has a lot of good qualities, when I sit back and think about it, I don't think all those trade-offs for that crazy range is that worth it, to be honest. It almost feels like less of an SMG compared to the other archetypes and more like a mini auto rifle that in some way struggles to find its identity between the other SMG archetypes and an auto rifle. I think if you're planning to SMG shoddy, this probably would be the best SMG. It's giving you the most versatility and more agency to challenge longer range, especially against hand cannons. So I suppose that does make sense, and that would be its use case. But for other cases wherein I believe personally that the SMG's best pairing is a sniper, the other archetypes simply just do a better job. They're better, faster killing, slightly closer range weapons with more benefits. For me personally, I recognize the strengths of this weapon, and I do agree that it is the best in archetype and does have a use case. But for me personally, and what I value, I believe the lightweight archetype SMGs, specifically the multi-mach CCX, is the best choice of SMG. That being said though, they all have something great about them, and that's a really good place to be in for Destiny. Right now, for SMGs, we have 3 incredibly top tier options and great picks that are more than viable. And for the current state of the sandbox, that's an awesome dilemma to have, to choose between 3 weapons that offer something so distinctly different. Anyways, on that note guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.